Alright, what's going on, everybody? So I just got finished watching Our Last Crusade, or The Rise of a New World, and I'm here to give you guys my review for the first episode. Our Last Crusade, or The Rise of a New World, is an adaptation of a light novel series by Keith Suzanne, and the series is being animated by Silverlink, the same studio behind shows like Beaufry and Wiseman's Grandchild, two shows that I really enjoyed. If I had to describe what this show is, it's essentially Romeo and Juliet set in a fantasy world during a war between two nations. So, on one side, there is the technologically advanced mechanical utopia, which is the home of the main male protagonist Iska. On the other side is the more magical nebulous sovereignty, also known as the Paradise of Witches, where the main female protagonist Alice resides. Both Alice and Iska wish to end the war, which has gone on for a century. Their paths eventually cross one day after Iska is released from prison prior to him breaking out a witch 1 year ago, shortly after receiving the title of Saint Disciple. Upon Iska's release from prison, the 8 great apostles order him to capture Alice, who is widely known as the Ice Calamity Witch. Later in the episode, after their initial clash, during a brief exchange of words, Alice and Iska discover that they share a common goal. Based off of the brief description I just gave you, you probably have a good idea where the story might be headed. No time was wasted planting the seeds for what I assume will be their eventual romance, as there is a scene where Alice falls conveniently into Iska's arms. While I don't necessarily have a problem with romances in fantasy anime like this one, I hate when there's no finesse in the execution. Later in the episode, Alice goes to see a stage play in Neutral City about two people on opposite sides of a war that are in love with each other. How much more on the nose can this be? Forgive the minor spoiler for the end of the episode, but I feel like I just needed to mention it anyway. Once the play is over and the lights turn on, it's revealed that Iska was right there sitting conveniently behind her the whole time. So, in my opinion, the setup for the romance and a couple of other things in the episode don't come across as organic. The relationship between these characters could be great later on, but as of right now, it's being handled pretty poorly. Another couple of issues I had with this episode were with the initial setup and the dialogue. The episode opens up with narration by Alice and Iska that is meant to give us information regarding the world and its current state. They talk about the nations being at war, the astral energy coming from the earth, and the oppression of those born with energy inside of them. The opening could have been handled better, perhaps quickly showing us mages and witches fighting against the Empire. Maybe show briefly how the Empire has oppressed those that can wield astral energy. The only thing we get from this episode close to that is a quick visual of the land being on fire when the apostles are talking to, or at least one of the apostles are talking to Iska, and then the witch at the beginning when we see the witch that was imprisoned. We could assume that the witch that Iska broke out was imprisoned without cause due to the hate and animosity toward witches because of the war, but it's not made clear. We can't really say that for certain. Anyway, another issue I had was with the dialogue. It just didn't feel natural. I also really wasn't a fan of some of the character designs, and honestly, the characters themselves, they were fine. Nothing really notable to really speak on in regards to Iska and Alice's character designs. Now, when you look at this show, like the first thing that I was seeing in the comment section while looking at like the trailer and everything, I mean, obviously, like shows like this are always, I think shows like this are always going to invite comparisons to Sword Art Online. But to be fair, now, yes, our main protagonist does have, it's another black haired main protagonist with like two swords, and he kind of fits the bill, but it's like I can kind of give this one a pass because at least I can say that Alice and Iska, like, they look like their own character. Even Alice, even though like what I think what she's wearing is very reminiscent of what Asuna would normally wear, and like the thing in her hair and stuff. But honestly, the character designs, they don't look, or at least those two, they don't look generic, or at least not as generic as what I've seen, because I've definitely seen worse when it comes to the fantasy genre, where the characters would look just almost, similar to Kirito and Asuna from Sword Art Online, because it's apparent that the author is definitely going after that crowd. But in this one, I would say that the character designs for the leads look fine, I guess. but it's more so the character designs for like Nini and Miss. I assume that's how you say that name. I'm not entirely sure. I really am not. But yeah, just their character designs. I really don't like how they made these characters like you can tell their breasts are like extremely huge. I can't stand when shows really do that. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I really don't have much to say about the characters themselves. Other than that, yeah, I think I pretty much said everything I needed to really say about this episode. Oh yeah, and one more thing, just in regards to like the action, there was brief action in the episode. Nothing really, once again, nothing really to write home about. The action and the animation was fine. Like I said, it was nothing too impressive. And I would say overall, this episode, it was just okay at the most. I think they could have done, like I said, I think they could have done a few things better, but hopefully, because I think that there's something to the show that there could be some interesting aspects to the show in terms of if they can get the relationship down with these two characters and really the whole war aspect of it. From what I'm assuming that we've seen in the first episode, it's going to be a battle between mages versus it's going to be magic versus technology, which could be it could make for some really cool fights and really cool scenarios later down the line. And then, of course, with these two characters being on opposite sides, it could there could be some interesting dramatic moments or and stuff like that going forward. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the first episode of Our Last Crusade. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think about this, about the first episode in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. This has been Fear No Hate. I'm out of here. Peace.